Scott Hall comes to
Yeah.
ECW.
Yes. And I got to work with him, which was wonderful. I always heard stories about Scott Hall through Shane Douglas. And, you know, they had a very public spat, if you will. And I just was always, you know, always took the side of Shane because I didn't know Scott personally, but the triple threat always stuck together. And I think everybody knows, you know, Scott came to our show a couple times just to hang out and watch. And the one time he actually appeared during a match on like one of the balconies or something, he was inebriated. And everybody, like, this was like the spotlight there, Scott. Now it wasn't a planned spot. He just poked his head out where the door was, and everybody saw Scott Hall was at this show, right? So he comes as a fan with his son to a different show, and he's friends with PJ, Just Incredible. And Just Incredible comes to the back and goes up to Shane because he knows there's heat. And he says, you know, Scott's here with his son. He just wants to watch the show. Well, Shane's not having it. So Shane, Bam Bam, Candido, and myself all go out, you know, where the bleachers are. And Scott's standing there. And here comes the locker room. So we're front and center. Everybody's behind us on the bleachers. And then Scott, you know, ate a piece of humble pie and said, brother, I just want to watch the show with my son. I'm just here as a fan. I just want to watch the show. And me, being an idiot, I say, after Shane curses him out, I say, you want to watch the show, then get in line with the other marks. And you hear Taz start hysterical laughing. And I'm like, and then I say, shit, I shouldn't have said that. But I'm trying to help Shane because we're all ride or die together, you know? So I open my mouth and Scott kind of looks at me like, bitch, shut up, you know? And everybody's laughing because it was a good line. You have to admit that is a good line.
That's a good line. No, that's very good. Spontaneous.
Yeah, it just started off the, you know, me being a heel and all. But then, you know, Chris and Bam Bam get out of here. You know, Shane's like, you're not welcome here, blah, 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 blah. So he puts his tail between his legs and he leaves. We don't see him again. And he comes back a different time. Now, Shane's not here anymore.
Right. So
I go up to him and he says, you're that franchise girl, aren't you? And I just went, oh my God. And he's like, no, Francine, I know who you are. And then he goes, I used to have a crush on you back in the day. That's typical Scott Hall trying to hit on a girl, whatever. And I'm just like, okay. And I said, I want to apologize. And I did. I apologized. I said, I stuck up for my friends when in reality, I just should have kept my mouth shut because it wasn't my fight to fight, right? It was Shane's battle. I should have never said a word. I should have especially, what am I going to do? I'm a girl. You know how many times I jumped in the middle of Shane's fights? He was fighting Tracy Smothers. I jumped in the middle. He fought somebody else. I jumped in the middle trying to there's millions of guys there that are 5 times my weight that could have broke it up. But here I am trying to, get everybody apart. And that's the way I was. So anyway, I apologized to Scott, told him I was sorry. And I knew we were working together that night because, he was working with PJ. And I told him, give me the razor's edge. I'll take it. I deserve it. I should have kept my mouth shut. And he goes, nah, I'm just going to make out with you a little bit. I was like, oh, what? Yeah, he said, and he point blank, I do not want to hurt you, which I thought was the nicest thing because he could have just picked me up and threw me as a receipt. Right. Some guys would do that 100%. I deserved it. I should have kept my mouth shut, but he wouldn't do that. And I found him to be so charming and so easy to work with. And as much as I love Shane, you know, I have to admit Scott Hall is a nice man. Now, whatever their beef was, I mean, I know he did some stuff and he didn't do it to me.
Right.
So, you know,
well, it was your whole crew. It was Bam Bam and it was Candido.
Everybody,
because the three of them collectively were basically on the shit list of the clique. And that was, you know, that was the antithesis of their height in ECW as the top dogs. And the way, you know, I think Shane's told this story to me a couple of times, and I've heard Scott Hall talk about it in shoot interviews. You know, he referred to it as your house. He was in your house. He was just a guest. So that's why he kind of did the tuck the tail between the legs and leave. Because if the you know script was flipped, what would they have done? The three of them walking into WCW and wanting to stay backstage.
Sure.
You know, they would have pulled the stroke. They would have done the big time in. And I know Shane, you ask him today, he'll say that he would have done it 1,000,000 times over then, and he'll do it 1,000,000 times again now. But I think it had a lot to do too with the three of them being like, you know.
And granted, they had their reasons, but I wasn't involved in that.
Right. You were just there with them, and you backed up your crew.
I did, but I should have just kept my mouth shut, you know? And it wasn't, like I said, it wasn't my battle to fight. It wasn't my fight.
And what you said is I think one of the most like tried and true things about wrestling, of me learning it and being around it, is the respect factor you had in going up to him and apologizing and feeling like you deserved the receipt. Like, to me, there's nothing more like humble in the business than that you deserve the receipt from that veteran.
Yeah. And I feel like even if we weren't working together, I still would have went up to him and I still would have said I was sorry.
Right.
Because it needed to be said. Whether he cared or not, it bothered me. You know what I mean? And if this man is going to walk in here and show me respect, I need to show him respect back.
Yeah.
And that's the way I was raised, and that's the way I wanted it to be. So and I was a fan of his.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Great.
Like I love his work. So I really didn't want to be that girl. You know, I just wanted to get along with everyone. So I just wanted to make it known. But I was totally willing for him to beat me up. And he said, absolutely not. I'm not going to hurt you. And to me, that meant the world.